put it in the minutes if you like. We should be ready to go, right? Good evening, everyone. It's great to be together again, and I'm looking out ahead of us, and there's no one out there. We miss those people sitting out there. And is there anyone online? No. Well, I was hoping Rod would be online. Okay. Robin, can we have roll call, please?
Absolutely. Chair Stevens, are you here?
I'm here.
Right. Commissioner Hensick is not with us. Commissioner Slaughter is not with us. Commissioner Hammond.
Present.
Secretary Rowden.
Present.
Vice Chair Bockert.
Present.
Commissioner Quarternick is not with us. Council Member Liaison Marshall.
Present.
Other council member liaison is not with us. HPC Advisor Scott.
Present.
Commissioner Red Hurley
Present.
and Commissioner Board.
Present.
Also have Ms. Clark Pam from Wildwood Historical Society with us. Let's just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chair Stevens, we do not have a quorum.
Oh, I know. What are we going to do about that?
Okay, so we can go through the agenda. We just can't take any votes.
We just can't vote on things.
Well, Madam Chair, we have a couple options, it appears. We can go through our agenda and discuss the 4 information items, but postpone any actions upon them. We can end the meeting right now. And those are your options.
I'm looking at everyone else. Mr. Dan, what do you have to say?
I vote for a truncated meeting. Now, it doesn't mean we have to end it right now, but we don't have to stay here till 8:30 either. Does that make sense?
Secretary Rowden, it was expected to be a shorter meeting regardless. So yes, absolutely, we can do a shorter meeting and we can't take any actions.
Chris?
Is there anyone who did not RSVP or, sorry, said they were going to be here that hasn't arrived yet?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, take a vote if they want a truncated meeting or they want to go home.
Well, I suppose you can't really take a vote. So, we'll leave it.
It's in our place, didn't it?
We can have opinions.
Yeah.
Here, what would you like to do?
Can we just get a few items discussed and go on our way within an hour?
Certainly.
That's not good?
Makes sense.
Okay,
It'd be more of a work session than
right.
anything else we can discuss and know what's going to come up next, which will be a long meeting. Yes.
We don't meet again until December, so. Well, I had planned to say that there's a lot going on for our commission, and I have a lot of work to do now and in the days ahead. I guess the work will be in the days ahead. But we do have excitement for all the things that we've been working on. And so I think it will be good to have us hear a few items so that we can kind of form some opinions to discuss at the next meeting. At this time, if you're able, please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag
Of the United States,
to the republic for which it stands,
under
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, let's go right on in for the approval of, we can't have approval of the minutes, but make sure you read them and get back to Robin if you see any mistakes. There's no public comment. They were marching right on through this. News and updates from the Wildwood Historical Society. Thank you very much for the calendars.
See, as you saw, the calendars got picked up. I picked them up Monday and gave each one of you a copy. If you want a second calendar, I put one at each spot, so there's some extras there. And then we allotted 50 for the city, so all the extra ones Robin has down there. Sunday, November 12th, we'll be having a speaker at 2:00 on Philip Hahn, who I don't know anything about the Hahn family, but I know it's a family from out here, and I
Mhm.
guess there was no male descendants left or something, and that's why
Mhm.
the name isn't familiar. And then December 8th at 1:00 is our Christmas open house. Everybody's welcome, lots of food and stuff to drink.
Okay,
That's
thank
all
you.
we've got. We don't have meetings in January and February because it's too dark for anybody to drive out, out our place.
Protect the deer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, old business. The Celebrate Wildwood report.
Right, Madam Chair, I believe the first item is actually a reminder for tomorrow's
sorry, I
CLG
skipped.
Forum event. So a reminder to our chair and our HPC advisor that we will be meeting at City Hall right around 6 a.m., hopefully with a prompt start to Jefferson City, where I'm hoping they welcome us with treats, but we'll see.
I read somewhere that there's going to be donuts.
Oh, wow.
Pretty important.
You better hope they have coffee.
I don't drink coffee very often. Oh, I don't care about you coffee drinkers. I just want that sweet donut.
All right. Well, I will see you here tomorrow morning, and I have the Ford Escape all serviced and ready for our trip.
Okay,
Mhm.
very good. Okay, you're ready now for the Celebrate Wildwood on my agenda. I didn't have the thing for tomorrow. That's okay. We did it. Yeah. Mind. Yep. Okay,
There you go.
here we are. Kill the tree. The annual report.
Okay, Madam Chair, members of this commission, as noted at your last meeting, this is that time of year for us to make our annual report to the State Historic Preservation Office as a certified local government. So I have sent out emails to each of you asking for any resume updates. I would still love a resume from my youth commissioners. And if I haven't heard back from you yet, I have simply included your resume from, I believe the most recent versions I have was actually from 2022. So if there was any updates to your appointment status, I tried to make those. If you see any discrepancies, please let me know. And if you still want to update your resume, also let me know because I have some time before I have to turn this in. But it's always a delight when I get to go through and fill out this form because it's a reminder of all that this commission has been able to accomplish over a year's time. So I figured I would just touch on some of our notable accomplishments of this past year. We did complete the final bid ready Essen log cabin reconstruction project drawings and specifications documents. So we finally completed that step and we're now ready to hire a contractor to actually reconstruct our cabin. We have sold 265 copies of the city's history book to date. So that's something to be proud of. And we're also included in the Missouri Historical Review this past July in the book notes section.
What was the mix of the books?
I
Approximately.
believe we've sold a lot more hardcover books, but I don't have that data in front of me. We do have our 2 inaugural youth commissioners with us now as a commission. So that is something that we spent, I think, nearly a year working on that ordinance draft and bylaws, and now we have our youth team with us. We developed a Wildwood Historic Communities map in cooperation and collaboration with our Wildwood Historical Society partner. And that has been a wonderful activity that has taken place at many of our festivals. We have added 2 new local landmarks to the Wildwood Historic Register. I thought that was pretty notable. The Essen Log Cabin and also the Hyman Scott House. And those landmarks, the city website, in case you've been monitoring it, has been updated with these landmarks. And those historic plaques are going to be ordered. And hopefully we'll be able to wrap that up with some meaningful ceremony. Painting and repairs were completed for Old Pond School. And the commission provided unique and engaging activities at 4 city events to ramp up awareness of historic preservation activities in preparation for our upcoming historic preservation plan effort. Is there anything I missed? Excuse me. All right, well, if not, give yourselves a pat on the back because that's a lot of good work accomplished. And I think we've started a lot of new big initiatives this year as well that unfortunately I wasn't able to include on this list because we're still plugging away at them. But I do feel like it's notable to understand that we do have these larger initiatives that we're working on and making progress in as well. At this time, I'd just like you to review this draft, and if you have anything you would like me to add or revise, please reach out to me in the next couple of weeks. This is due at the end of November. Thank you.
It's coming sooner than we realized too.
Huh?
The 1st of November is coming sooner than we realize.
Yes, yes, I feel like time is absolutely flying right now.
Okay, well, the next item is the Innsbruck field trip.
All right, Madam Chair, members of the commission, I've been hard at work organizing the Innsbruck field trip, where we will hopefully have an opportunity to tour several historic structures that are on site, including a historic log cabin, a one-room schoolhouse, and a barn project as well. I've been working with the president of the Innsbruck Historical Society, and thank you again to Advisor Scott for starting these conversations and suggesting this trip. But he has lined up 3 knowledgeable volunteers for us on November 8th. They're all excited to talk to us about their experiences with these projects. And the department is planning to first take us to lunch at the Innsbruck Clubhouse and Grill. I've attached a menu for you to look at to your agenda tonight. Our volunteers will be joining us at that lunch, so we'll have an opportunity to have some conversation around the table prior to going to the site and touring the facilities. We're expecting to leave here around 10 o'clock. I have us meeting at 9:45. And we'll come back to City Hall around 4 o'clock later that afternoon. So it will be a significant trip, and the city's working to provide transportation arrangements to it as well. But at this time, if you don't mind, if you could show me a show of hands, who is planning to attend on November 8th? Okay, so both of my youth commissioners, that's fantastic. Okay, All right, wonderful. Thank you. And Steve, you as well, right?
Yes, oh, yes, I, man,
Fabulous.
I definitely be there.
All right. Well, I will be following up with an email. I would appreciate it if you would confirm your RSVPs because I need to let our organizer know over at Innsbruck as well because he's managing the reservations piece for lunch and needs a final number. I need that final number so I can reserve potentially reserve a shuttle bus or something of that nature. If we have lower numbers, we'll probably use city vehicles. So that's where we are.
Okay.
Hope to see you November 8th.
Okay, number 4 is Historic Preservation Fund grant application update.
All right, Madam Chair, members of this commission, several meetings back, I introduced a memorandum to you where we proposed that in 2026, the officers of this commission attend the National Alliance of Preservation Commissions Forum. We've since discovered that the location of that forum will be Minneapolis. So it will be a trip to Minneapolis for 3 officers and 1 staff liaison. Additionally, when I talked to Andrew Dial, the grants manager at the State Historic Preservation Office, he recommended that as part of this application, we add both our organizational membership to the National Alliance, as well as the summer virtual short courses for all of the members. So I've since updated our pre-application, which is still being reviewed, with those additional requests, and also revisited my estimated cost based on plane fare to Minneapolis. So that has been included in your packets tonight. And if you have any comments at this time or feedback, I'd certainly welcome it. The next step is to take it to City Council in the form of a resolution to receive City Council's endorsement. This commission at that previous meeting already authorized the chair to sign a letter of support. That letter of support is in your packets tonight. I was going to have you take another action, just reaffirming that. But since we did take that previous action, I feel comfortable accepting that that signature from the chair. As long as all you are. And that concludes my presentation on that item, unless again, there's any feedback at this time.
Okay, Historic Preservation Plan update.
Okay. Madam Chair, members of this commission, we have finally moved forward in our historic preservation plan efforts. The city has received a draft unsigned grant agreement from the State Historic Preservation Office. It is presently being reviewed by the department and appropriate signatures will be collected for it. That grant agreement is included in your packets tonight, minus the reimbursement portion, which we'll deal with at a later date. But one thing that's probably notable for you to look at is the schedule for the historic preservation plan effort, which is charted out over the course of 2025 and ending in the spring of 2026. So one thing I will need to get to the State Historic Preservation Office by December 6th is a draft RFP document, which unfortunately I don't think this commission has authorized yet, but they can probably review it at this point. But that draft RFQ document is something that I have in your packets this evening as well. This commission has reviewed it over several months. You've had an opportunity to provide comments. If you have any final comments, please provide them to me in the next few weeks, and we'll get started with that process. Now, one thing I did note in your memorandums is that there was an attachment A included as part of this grant agreement, and I was a little concerned about how compatible it would be with our draft request for qualifications document. I did reach out to the state And they said that we could certainly use what we had and just include language to have their attachment as an attachment. They also said it wasn't necessary to reference the Secretary of the Interior's qualifications, given that this is for a preservation planner, and planning isn't really included in their list of qualifications. So he said to take that out. But those were the only two changes he gave me. He said it looks really good overall. So any comments regarding our historic preservation plan effort at this time? It looks like we're targeting, I believe, March, having a signed contract according to the state schedule. Any
Next item
questions for
is
me? I
Route
see some
66.
confused looks. No. Okay.
Route 66.
Right. Madam Chair, members of this commission, we felt like, given that we are soon approaching our 2026 anniversary of the Mother Road, we better start getting this item back on the agenda. And I think we actually have several updates regarding various projects having to do with it. So as you know, back in 2022, we had a big community kickoff event for Route 66 revitalization, as well as our Route 66 roadside park project. At that time, we had a lot of enthusiasm and momentum, and we began designing a Route 66 roadside park project with our student Route 66 task force. We are ready to pick up the Route 66 roadside park project again. And the Planning and Parks Committee has initially approved $25,000 for a phase 1 study. So looking at phasing the park project over time. So it looks like we will be moving forward as the next year approaches. It still needs to get final approval from City Council. Additionally, as you know, we're also working on a Route 66 grant program. $25,000 has also been set aside in the planning budget for the development of that program. And we're hoping to have an outline for it either by the end of this year or beginning of next for you to review. So both of those projects are moving forward. So given that we do have the 100th anniversary approaching soon, I felt like it would be prudent in this memorandum to take inventory over current projects having to do with Route 66 that we're presently working on as a city, and also just various initiatives we've discussed over time, to have a discussion with the members about what are we not doing right now that we really should be, or what needs to be added to the list, et cetera. So the things that we are doing as a city, we're developing a Route 66 grant program for businesses and properties along Route 66. And we're hoping to broadly define what that grant program can actually do in terms of, can they, potentially implement signage or projects or events in support of the anniversary, can be used for preservation of historic buildings along Route 66, things of that nature. We're looking at doing a phase 1 of our Route 66 roadside park. So this might be an opportunity to really, at the very least, highlight the aspects of that project that were community designed, that we engaged the school district around, and potentially get some of those pieces in place so we can move forward with that in a meaningful way. We have a city wayfinding program that Ms. Ripito will speak to you about tonight, and she has a short presentation for you, and that does include some Route 66 components. So we'll get to that shortly. We are planning a Route 66 revitalization element in the historic preservation plan. So that will be an opportunity for us to engage the whole community around Route 66 as part of that planning effort. And then finally, the Wildwood Historical Society calendar will have a Route 66 theme in 2026. So I wanted to mention and touch on that as well. So thank you, Wildwood Historical Society. To date, I've heard the following activities discussed, and please let me know if I missed any. But we've talked about doing Route 66 banners along Old Manchester Road, and I think we might even touch on that as part of our wayfinding initiative. We've talked about doing Route 66 interpretive signage. So signage in front of historic businesses like Big Chief, explaining what that landmark means for travelers who are passing through. We've talked about doing a Route 66 historic marker, similar to our other historic markers, but for the Mother Road. There's the possibility of doing Route 66 events, which were pretty successful in 2023. We've talked about doing a Route 66 brochure. And we've talked about doing Route 66 souvenirs, or we've already done a few of them, actually. So at this time, I'd like to open it up for discussion. What do you all think? What should we be prioritizing as we move forward into the 100th anniversary? How can we make this a success?
Is that a quorum discussion?
Discussions are allowed.
Yes, but do we want to wait till we have all input, or do we want to do it twice?
I'd say it's up to this commission. We do have a good number of people here, if not a quorum.
Well, I'd like to add a little something. I was into a doctor appointment this week, and I was wearing one of my Route 66 t-shirts, not the Wildwood one, but one of the other ones. And the doctor said, "I like your t-shirt." I said, "Well, thank you. I do too." And he said, "Where did you get it?" I looked at him and I said, "Online somewhere." He says, "Oh, everybody shops online anymore. I shouldn't even have to ask that." But he is a bicyclist. Every Sunday morning, he and 5 others bicycle somewhere in Wildwood. And so I told him about the upcoming park. He was so excited. He said, "Well, there'll be water available there." So that's something to keep in mind. He feels that's something we really need to have. And I said something, I said, "I think maybe there'll be capability for air in case you have tire trouble." He says, "Oh, well, we won't have any tire trouble." But
Until you do.
his closing comment was, "Bless you, Wildwood. You provide so many opportunities for we bicyclists." And Chris is over there going, "Well, yeah, I take care of this too." But coming from an outsider, he lives in town and country, but every Sunday he's in Wildwood bicycling. So it was a boost for things, I was sure. So yesterday was back over at St. Luke's, and I took in a points of interest map and gave it to his secretary and said, "Please put this on his desk so he can get it Monday when he's back in the office." Because I explained it to him and he said, "Well, I kind of look online and I plan out what we're going to do each time." I said, "You need one of our point of interest maps." So I passed that along to him. Just a little FYI there. Yes, Scott.
Oh, you mentioned bicycling, which brings to mind one of Paul's suggestion when he was thinking or wanting to be able to put Route 66 stencils in the road
Okay.
or in the bike lane. Have there been any more investigation of that? I mean, whether it's in the middle of the road or the middle of the bike lane, it would be nice just every quarter of a mile along there to have a historic Route 66 marker. I didn't see that you mentioned that.
I mean, I believe that there's maybe 1 or 2.
There's one in
such.
front of Big Chief
Yeah.
that Paul had provided or got donated, but I think that, as far as I'm aware, that's the only one on the
It
road.
would be nice
That's
to
the
have
one
them
on-
just periodically down the entire stretch.
Yeah.
Even if,
And you had mentioned something about signs in front of places that were here for Route 66 time. Going through Pacific the other day, they have quite a few of those signs up now. This is a Route 66 attraction. So it's being picked up all over. So we want to make sure we do that as well.
I'd say in terms of potential events, obviously a car show or even a couple of car cruises, something organized cruises down Route 66, similar to like a bike, like Tour of Wildwood type of thing, something along those lines. I think you could probably find car clubs that would partake and help do some of the legwork in terms of organizing on those as well. I think that'd be good.
Okay.
Maybe consider some joint community activities where you have overlapping Route 66 into Pacific, Eureka, surrounding areas. Maybe do something together.
Yes.
If you really want to do a car deal, my cousin, you know, the Hart Farm out here, my cousin Rich, he's very active with the Vintage Chevy Club. They make drives out here all the time on the old Manchester. I mean, a couple months ago, I was with them and we started at the farm on Highway T and went out to Pacific and to the Red Cedar Inn to see their displays and stuff. I know their club would do something like that because they get to stamp their passports and how many miles that they did or whatever. And I know Rich has, I think he's maybe used it in one of the parades or he's had it at one of our booths at Celebrate Wildwood. He's got a car from the year Route 66 opened and from the final year of Route 66. But their clubs they'll do stuff like that.
Is it possible for you to make an introduction?
Oh, I can give you Rich's phone number and his email address.
Yes, thank you.
You can go from there.
I can envision a parade with the beginning and the end, the two
Well, he
cars.
can't drive two cars at once.
Well, but we can get somebody up. Maybe you can drive one of them.
Oh, I'm a.
Okay, anything else on Route 66? Okay, program update. Oh, yes, Abby.
Maybe also like some type of a run taking inspiration from the Bunyan Derby. Some type of a like long run. During that year.
Get fit on Route 66.
Maybe even and this may be, I think it probably still fits, a drive-in theme as well. Maybe a movie drive-in and the Deerberg's parking lot or wherever, somewhere that would have enough place for cars. Something along those lines.
Great ideas. Thank you.
Okay, work program update, please.
All right, Madam Chair, members of this commission. I didn't include it on the agenda, but I did want to touch on the Essen Log Cabin reconstruction. As you know, we do have a final bid package and we have all the related paperwork assembled. The only delay at this point is we're trying to organize logistics with Pattern Eyes, who have two offices, one in Pennsylvania, which is where their primary historic building studio is located, and one here in St. Louis. So we are working things out to where they can participate in a sort of pre-bid meeting where potential bidders can actually tour both the site for the Essen Log Cabin reconstruction and also some of the materials that are available for it, including the logs. So we're working on that, but we're hoping to get this advertised by the end of the month. But that's why it hasn't been done yet. Any questions for the department at this time?
I mean, if it is proper, I don't know what the requirements are for the city. I would like to attend any pre-bid meetings. I don't know what's the proper way to do it, but
I certainly think that can be arranged as well.
I would like to be included in that.
The primary will be trying to figure out Carol Quigley, our lead architect's schedule, because again, she's primarily based in Pennsylvania. So it has to be a week that she is here. So that's just part of the organization that needs to go into this.
Well, I am more flexible than she is. So,
I will let you know once I have some dates.
yeah, don't schedule it around me, but please, if you can, please invite me.
All right, the next item I wanted to touch base on is the Pertner Park Ad Hoc Group. And I'm sad that Council Liaison Rambo's not here with us, so we can hear me pronounce it the way he likes it. But I just wanted to let you know that the department is anticipating hosting the first meeting for this group in the near future. And 2 dates have been proposed at this point, and that's Wednesday, November 12th or Monday, November 18th. So we're looking for your availability for those 2 dates. I'll send out a follow-up email. But if you could let us know what makes sense for you if you're participating in this, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Is that all on the work update?
I am double checking. I think nope, those were the ones I wanted to touch base on.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions regarding the work program items at this time?
That you're going to be able to have a drink of water and let Melanie talk for a while. We're moving down now to new business, city wayfinding signs.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thanks for letting me join you this evening. I will do my very best to make a brief presentation on what has been a very long discussion. So wayfinding signage, it's come up several times over the years. It's basically what it sounds like. It's signs to get you from point A to point B, but wayfinding signs are often also used for placemaking. Forest Park has now an award-winning wayfinding signage program, and I can actually find my way through the park, so I can say it's effective. I got lost in there quite a bit. Yeah, so it's not only to get you from point A to point B, but it's also to let you know where you're at along the way. So frequently that's done by color coding, or, if you look at like in the mall or something like that, they have large signs that, show you where you're at. And then a lot of times places will color code areas to like, let you know where you're at. And so most of these conversations have not been successful. The most successful was the Great Streets program. Not sure if you're familiar with it, but it was kind of to have unified signage down Manchester Road. Don't know exactly how far it went, but Manchester did not partake it because it stopped at 141 and they didn't want it halfway through their city. But Ellisville and Baldwin, they all have similar signs and they're color coded according to the city. And you'll see, cute little ones giving directions to parks and stuff. But then they also have larger ones that are on, higher trafficked areas. We have 3 of them here in Wildwood. 2 of them are right here at Town Center, kind of directing you into Town Center. And then there's another one down at 100, 109, I believe. So the city received positive feedback from these, and the subject's come up several times since, but not with a whole lot of support behind it. And so last year we had a real estate broker come to the city who owns property down on Old Manchester, off East Avenue behind the shopping center with the old post office in it. And his complaint was that his businesses can't be seen from Manchester. And we have several can't say several. We have definitely areas in which there isn't any frontage and we don't allow big monument signs and stuff like that, whereas a lot of other cities do. So part of the problem is that you can't see them. And so this here is an example of the wayfinding signage that was presented originally. And there's the sign that's out on Manchester, out on 100 is similar to this, except it's more sturdy. It's a little bit larger because it's at a high traffic area. And so that being said, the city was trying to think of solutions, and perhaps we have a way of directing businesses, directing people to businesses or to our different centers. And so in 2012, the city conducted a study on wayfinding signage, and these signs were designed to kind of complement the Great Streets program. And they had a variety of different types of signage. The thought was putting it in town center, and then in areas to get you again from point A to point B. And they actually broke it down into 4 different districts to kind of make it more of a placemaking effort. They had the downtown district, which is obvious, and these would just be in town center. It wouldn't be throughout the entire city. But then they also had the college district, the historic district, and then the bridge district, which nobody had any idea where that was. And half of my last presentation consisted of, what is the bridge district? And that sign is actually where Old Manchester meets 100, that little pie shaped area right there. And so they called it the bridge district, the pedestrian bridge and such. And yeah, so at any rate, it was just kind of to figure out where to go. And so after having this conversation with, the business owner, we're like, don't know how much this will help, but if we could come up with signs that pointed people towards, the Old Manchester area that maybe said shopping or something along the lines of that, grocery store or some kind of something to just point people down there, because from either side, you can't really tell. And so just to get people down there. And if it becomes more of a thing, then, potentially maybe we could have businesses or something along the lines, not necessarily the business name, but maybe gym or, something. So at any rate, it's gotten mixed reviews. And so this was brought before the Planning and Zoning Commission last November, and they authorized further study on it just to see if this was something that we could potentially use to help businesses. The climate's changed a bit, and COVID has hurt a lot of our business community and continues to. Like it's changed the business climate quite a bit. And we would like to do what we can to help our businesses. And so at any rate, the city engaged a consultant before to have this done, and there was interest generated, but again did not receive enough support. But there were certain components that the city took from this that maybe placemaking is a good thing, and also having things down in town center could also be good, in addition to having direction to our businesses on Route 66. So the Planning and Parks Commission, when it was brought to them, concluded that the bridge district just confuses people. You don't need to create places. They were supportive of a pilot program for wayfinding signage. And so it would consist of just one of the 4 areas for now. And then if it was successful, then maybe incorporate others, and then maybe incorporate other signs. And so we kind of came up with this concept plan, which was based off of the Great Streets program. But it changed the color, which is not showing up great here either. So the signage on Manchester Road, the Great Streets program, had kind of the tannish color with the leaf imprint on it, and this has more of a red with the Manchester Road on there that would be at the intersection of 100 or no Old Manchester and 109. And so it would be catty corner 1 in front of the fire department, and then 1 catty corner from that, kind of pointing people, letting people know which direction, and, the community college, the YMCA, things like this. And then the other one that was formerly known as the Bridge District would also be changed to fit this theme as well. So it would kind of have Route 66 connected because having, also incorporating banners to make it more of a placemaking in addition to just directional signage. And so these banners we came up with, and the red that's not really showing up as red at the bottom there matches the red that where it says Manchester Road. And the banners would then be hung all down Old Manchester Road rather than having the Bridge District halfway and the Route 66 halfway. Just have it all unified. And in my own fantasy world, I would like to talk the other cities into having the banners, the Route 66 banners all the way down. I live in the Maplewood Richmond Heights area, and I love Maplewood's Route 66 banners. They're adorable. And so these are banners that could be hung year round. And the red would also be complementary to our Hometown Heroes banners. And so, they would coincide and maybe not necessarily be taken down, or they'd be taken down while those banners go up. But either way, it would create that place. And so they would be part of the wayfinding signage. And then let's see here, I think, yeah, see, Maplewood's adorable Route 66 banners. And so they're kind of complementary, but different enough that it creates, its own concept for Wildwood. And then if we wanted to go further, we could do, and this was just thrown together, but like maybe a different color for the downtown district and have banners for downtown. And although you can't see it with the scrolling of the script at the bottom, it says Wildwood at the bottom of it. And so they would be consistent enough, but different colors to create different places. And then if this whole program is successful, we could go into things like, say having maps of Wildwood at like the Village Green. Seems like a great place. It can kind of show like where our trails are and where, but have it all coincide. So it's all has a similar look, a similar vibe about it. And again, it's if it's successful. And so this right here is at a starting point in concept alone. And it's gotten positive feedback from the Planning and Parks Commission and went before the City Council's time of firm information only. And because it does, it is Route 66, thought it was important to get your feedback on it, your opinion on it as well. And so tonight, that's exactly why I'm here. It's just to kind of present the idea to you, the concept to you, and see what you think of it. This is kind of what we were leaning towards. And if at all possible, we would love to be able to get where it says sign message, those panels to be removable so that, if something changed or if it was like an event, like parade route for Celebrate Wildwood or something like that, so that we could use them for different things. And, or if it ended up being a way of helping our businesses later on, I also don't want to clutter our right of way. And that's like the biggest concern. And so, not allowing any kind of monument sign or whatnot, but if we could provide some kind of assistance, then, and all in a uniform, cohesive way, then that would be ideal. And if so, at any rate, these are our thoughts thus far. And that is why I'm here tonight. And with that concludes our presentation. But Ms. Keep and I are available for any questions or any input you might have.
Dan?
My biggest concern, and I've seen this implemented in various ways, but the huge component is going to be the maintenance aspect. Who's going to be responsible every time there's a change, and depending upon how much detail you put. Grocery store here. Well, next year the grocery store is not there anymore. What do you do with the sign? Who maintains the sign? Who changes the sign? Who polices the sign? Who makes sure that when we do a map of Wildwood and we show businesses that business is here next year, that business is gone? What do we do? Do we update the map? 2-3 year time, 50% of what you have could be in arrears, and it does more harm than good. So it's the maintenance aspect that's critical to making it work.
That has actually been taken into consideration. And that's part of the reason for like the vague descriptions, like shopping center, as opposed to saying Dearborn Shopping Center, or grocery store or something like that. But if we just had something like that and had those printed and kept those panels, and it was just a panel that needed to be changed, that panel could be swapped out relatively easily, and we could keep those for if we end up with another grocer or something like that. And so that was kind of the thought behind it, was not allowing, specific businesses or something like that. Although there are cities that have similar signage to this, and businesses can pay for a panel to have it directed that way. But again, they're paying for it, and the panels, we've sent this off to a couple different sign companies to see if we can actually make this magic happen anyway, and how much it would cost us to do so. And I mean, hopefully the panels would just be something that you can slide in and like bolt in place, so it wouldn't be something that would be terribly difficult for us, or say Public Works Department, or even, one of our contractors to just go out and swap out. So that
I
was kind of
mean,
the thought behind it.
It's work, it's time,
It is.
it's audits, and it just requires a program to make sure that that happens, and the resources are in place
That is correct.
to manage that system. And
That is-
without a system, it doesn't work.
That is
That's my only
absolutely correct. And, as far as the larger map kind of concept, it would probably be more along the lines of the Wildwood map that we created, and it doesn't have specific businesses, but it might point out hotel, city hall, fire department, something like that. It would be broad, and honestly, mostly just to show where our parks are and how our trails connect them, and help people with that kind of concept. And we could actually use those maps as, have that in, some sort of glass. A lot of the products that they sell now have some sort of glass that you can kind of take off and swap things out. And that would be ideal in my head.
And just somebody has to do it.
Sure. But we do that with our parks every day when we go through and change out the bulletin boards and stuff like that. Like, it'd
Okay.
just be one more thing that would probably happen once every couple of years or so. So, yeah, for sure.
Yes, Chris.
I love it.
I
Do it.
love that answer.
Love it. Do it. Move forward. I would love to see this happen and go forward. That's my feedback. So.
Excellent.
I did too. I think it'd be great.
Fantastic.
I was driving down Manchester Road earlier today and I picked up on, again, their signage that they put down along Manchester, and it's good.
Yeah. In Ellisville, they have those signs that they swap out down the median all the time. If we could get those Route 66 and get Manchester to participate, have it go all the way down to Maplewood, and especially with the anniversary coming up,
Right.
I think that I might be able to talk some people into it. So we'll see.
My concern is that we seem to be putting the emphasis on Route 66 between where Old Manchester starts and 109.
Mhm.
What about the rest of it? Are we going to do anything to designate that still Route 66 all the way down there?
So that is a whole other challenge. Like right now, it's a matter of putting banners where we have our light posts. And we only have, our light posts with the sidewalk so far down. And so that is also a thought to be had. And again, that's part of the reason this is a pilot program. We'll see how it flies. And if everybody loves it, then that will be a question that you will not be the only person asking. So.
Anyone else? Well, it's not quite 7:30. And we've gotten through the whole agenda for discussion and information. So we did a good job on it.
The
Not
bad
having
news
enough
is
people.
that you can't adjourn because you can't take a vote on it. So
I
you're stuck here in
Has anybody considered approaching him, and would he be interested in that building and maintaining that building as part of his business? Crazy thought, but
No, I don't think it's horrible. I can certainly carry that thought forward. Thank you.
Take one.
Thank you. I would agree. Like it's associations.